צפי שחור מצפון ועד תימן, אין קרן לו. אור זרוע לצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה. 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 לצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה.
וקראת לשבת עונג, you shall call the Sabbath a delight. These lights we kindle are a symbol of joy. May their brightness lift our spirits and fill our hearts with happiness and peace. And if you're in our sanctuary, could I please ask you to stand? And at home, if you wish to join us in lighting your candles as well, as we invite Cantor Debbie Martin to light the candles for us.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
You may be seated.
The Sabbath has descended to enfold us in its mantle of peace. It brings to us the precious gift of time to embrace family and friends, to reflect more deeply on the meaning and purpose of our lives, and to worship in the beauty of holiness. May our Sabbath always be sanctuaries of love and devotion, bringing contentment to our hearts, happiness to our homes, and blessing to our people.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ba'ochem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ba'choni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitechem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We're on page 77. The Eternal One reigns, let the earth rejoice.
Let the many isles be glad.
Clouds and darkness surround you.
Righteousness and justice are the foundation of your throne.
Your lightnings illumine the world.
The earth sees and trembles
Mountains melt like wax before you, O God.
before the ruler of all the earth,
The heavens proclaim your righteousness.
and all the peoples behold your glory.
Zion hears and is glad.
The daughters of Judah rejoice in your judgments.
For you are supreme over all the earth.
You are exalted far above all other gods,
Light dawns for the righteous.
and joy for the upright in heart,
Let the righteous rejoice in you.
and give thanks to your holy name.
Yedid nefesh harachaman, Yedid nefesh harachaman, Meshach avdecha, Eretz onecha, Meshach avdecha, Eretz onecha.
Show yourself, beloved, and spread over me the shelter of your peace. Illumine the world with your presence, and we will rejoice and be glad in you. Hurry, loved one, the holy day has come. Be gracious to us, as in days of old. Would you please turn to page 92 and rise?
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamavurach.
Baruch Adonai Havorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavurach Leolam Va'ed.
Praise be the one to whom our praise is due.
We praise the Eternal One, to whom our praise is due forever.
Please be seated. And do join me in reading. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv arabim, בחוכמה פותח שערים, ובתבונה משנה עתים, ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמורותיהם ברקיע כרצונו. בורא יום ולילה, כולל אור מפני חושך, וחושך מפני אור. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה. אדוני צבאות שמו, ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים.
Unending love have you shown your people, the house of Israel. Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts have you taught us. When we lie down and when we rise up, we will reflect on the meaning of your laws and rejoice in the words of your Torah and in your mitzvot forever. On them we will meditate day and night, for they are our life and the length of our days. May your love never depart from us. We praise your God. You love your people Israel.
Would you please rise? Richard locked the ark again. just to trick my husband into thinking he can't even get into the ark. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Shem Kavod, Shem Kavod, Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך, בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לעוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני, אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני, אדוני אלוהיכם.
You may all be seated.
All this we hold to be true and sure. You alone, Eternal One, are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You have freed us from oppressors and delivered us from tyrants. You led us out of Egypt forever to serve you in freedom. When we witnessed your power, we praised your name and gave thanks. Willingly we accepted your rule. Then, full of joy, we sang together.
מי כמוך ברים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב ויגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ותכננו בעצה טובה מלפניך. שומרנו ומצילנו אתה, כי אל מלך אמנון ברחום אתה, ושמו צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם.
ברוך אתה אדוני, הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל יושבי תבל. Would you please rise?
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך.
ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואמהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. את גיבורה לעולם שדי, מחיה מתים את רבה להושיע, משיבה הרוח ומורידה הגשם, מזריחה השמש ומורידה הטל, מכלכלת חיים בחסד, מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים, סומכת נופלים ורופאת חולים, ומתירה אסורים, ומקיימת אמונתה לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעלת גבורות, ומי דומה לך, גבורה ממיתה, ומחיה ומצמיחה ישוע. ונאמנה את להחיות מתים, ברוכה את שדי, מחיה המתים.
קדוש אתה ונורא שמך, ואין לנו אלוה מבלעדיך.
ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. You may be seated.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
Let us continue together. Our God and God of our ancestors, may our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Sanctify us by your commandments, and make us loyal to your teaching. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts that we may serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Eternal One, let the holiness of your Sabbath enter our hearts, and may all Israel who hallow your name be exalted by its peace. We praise you, O God, for the holiness of the Sabbath.
חצי אדוני אלוהינו בעמך ישראל, ותפילתם באהבה תקבל, ותהי לרצון תמיד עבודת ישראל עמך. ברוך אתה אדוני, שעותך לבדך, ביראה נעבוד.
And together, מודים אנחנו לך, שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד. צור חיינו, מגן אישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. נודה לך ונספר תהילתך, על חיינו המסורים בידיך. ועל נשמותינו הפרודות לך, ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלותיך וטובותיך, שבכל עת ערב ובוקר וצהריים. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך, ולך נאה להודות. And together we read our prayer for peace. Supreme source of peace, grant true and lasting peace to your people Israel, for it is good in your sight that your people Israel and all peoples may be blessed at all times with your gift of peace. We praise you, O God, the source of peace. We'll take a few moments for silent prayer. I'm sure many of you are, well, at least those of you who are members of our Facebook hub, are loyal followers of Howard's weekly message inviting you to Havdalah. This week, he reminded us all that we are celebrating the minor Jewish festival of Tu B'Av this Friday. So we're just leading with Tu B'Av into Shabbat. And you'll see at the end of the service, we're going to pay homage to Tu B'Av as well with the selection of our closing song. But what is Tu B'Av? Also known as Chag HaAhava, the Festival of Love, Tu B'Av was first mentioned in the Mishnah, in Ta'anit in chapter 4, where Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel is quoted as saying, "There were no better," he means happier days, "for the people of Israel," well, it's translated here, the people of Israel, it might mean the men of Israel, "then the 15th of Av," that's what the Tu stands for, Tu B'Av, Tet Vav, 15, and Yom Kippur. Since on these days the daughter of Israel in Jerusalem go out dressed in white and dance in the vineyards. What were they saying, the women? "Young man, consider whom you choose to be your wife." The rabbis of the Talmud later tried to find the origin of this date as a special joyous occasion. One of their suggestions is that on this day, the biblical tribes of Israel were permitted to mingle with each other, namely, to marry women from the other tribes. This explanation is somewhat surprising. While we read in our Torah portion this week about the prohibition of intermarriage with the Canaanite nations, nowhere in the Bible is there a prohibition on intermarriage among the 12 tribes of Israel. According to an explanation offered by the editor of myjewishlearning.com, this is what the modern rabbi quotes, the Talmudic source probably is alluding to a story in the book of Judges. After a civil war between the tribe of Benjamin and other Israelite tribes, the tribes vowed not to intermarry with men of the tribe of Benjamin. Maybe what the Talmudic rabbis wanted to hint at is that Tu B'Av is not simply a celebration of romantic love between two people. It is also a celebration of Jewish unity, of Jewish peoplehood. Tisha B'Av, which we marked only 6 days earlier, is there to remind us of the destructive power of disunity. For the rabbis taught in Yoma 9b, why was the first temple destroyed? Because of 3 things which prevailed there: idolatry, immorality, bloodshed. But why was the second temple destroyed, seeing that in its time they occupied themselves with Torah, mitzvot, and acts of kindness? Because baseless hatred prevailed. This teaches you that baseless hatred is equal to the three sins of idolatry, immorality, and bloodshed. With Tu B'Av, our tradition reminds us that just like baseless hatred is powerful, so is love. In the Shema, which is also found in our parasha this week, we are commanded to love God, not to honor God, not to respect God, not to obey God, not to fear God, but to love God. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha. We learn from this that the origin of the Jewish concept of love, ahava, is not found in the love between two people, but in the covenant between God and the Jewish people. And so in Judaism, love is understood to be covenantal. It is a complex idea of love. As Rabbi Bradley S. Artson, the dean of the Ziegler School of Rabbinic Studies, describes it, covenantal love nurtures understanding and generosity, seeing the best in your lover, seeing the best in your children, in your community, in humanity, in the world, and then with similar generosity, sharing in their struggles, sharing in their efforts. When we embrace this type of love, this covenantal love, we have the power to transform the world to the better. So even though the festival of Tu B'Av only saw a revival after the founding of the State of Israel, almost 19 centuries after the Mishnaic rabbis first discussed it, and they're mostly in the flour and card industry, let us nonetheless heed Howard's reminder to celebrate the power of love. As Naomi Shemer, the first lady of Israeli song, famously declared, Od lo ahavti dai, I still haven't loved enough. In a world where there is so much hatred and sadness, on this Tu B'Av, let's all pledge to love a little more. Shabbat Shalom. And hopefully with some loving thoughts in our hearts, we turn to our concluding prayers, to the Aleinu prayer. And if you would like to turn to page 520, and when you found your page, please rise. Page 520.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, אשר שם חלקנו לאחד את שמו, וגואלנו להמליך מלכותו.
ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגופי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס סולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד.
ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
As we worship before you, O God, we think of those who once shared with us the joys and burdens of life and who are no longer in our midst. On this Shabbat, we think especially of those whose yahrzeit falls at this time. Alex Alejo Popescu, brother-in-law of Stephen Weinrab and brother of Eugenia. Maureen Hart, the mother of Lawrence, Luana Holland, and Naomi Thorley. Sylvia Morris, the sister of Neville Price. Veronica Sass, wife of Brian and aunt of Avril Whitty. We are saddened by the recent death of Brian Weinrab, the husband of Jackie, father of Andy and Paul, brother of Eric, and cousin of Stephen. The sorrow of bereavement is softened by the bond of love which continues to unite us with our dear ones, and by our cherished memories of them, which we will always carry in our hearts. May all that was good in their lives remain with us as an influence for good. O God, grant consolation to those who are in sorrow, and light to those in darkness. Teach us at all times to put our trust in you and to praise your name, as we recite together on page 524. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirotei v'yamlich malchotei, b'chayachon v'yomachon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'gala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitchumam v'yitnaseh, v'yithada v'yitale v'yitalal shemei d'kodesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran b'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imrumav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol b'nei Adam, v'imru amen. May great peace descend from heaven, and abundant life be granted to us, to all Israel, to all humanity, and to all those who mourn. And let us say,
Amen.
Please be seated. It's a warm Shabbat. It is a warm Shabbat indeed. It's not a heavy week that lies ahead for the shul. Most of us have withdrawn into summer sleep. But we are meeting tomorrow, of course, for Shabbat morning services. Thank you very much, Marc, for leading so beautifully with me. I think you got dumped in to have to co-lead with me again tomorrow morning because poor Ali had a problem with her car, so she was supposed to lead tomorrow morning with me, but isn't able to be with us. But it's lovely that we know you're joining us online and you've made it home. That's wonderful to know. So Shabbat morning service tomorrow morning. Also, one of our young people, Dora Hirsch, will be reading Torah, so that also will be a highlight. So please do come. Either come into the sanctuary, don't bring a jacket. It is warm. Bring a water bottle instead. Or join us from your garden or wherever you want to. In the shade, because it's going to be warm as well. And then tomorrow evening at 5 p.m., do join us for Havdalah, so that we can celebrate with Howard, who's joined us in the Kiddush Zoom room, Tu B'Av a little bit more. And otherwise, just smile, as Howard said, smile at someone you love. And then I think you added something that I'm not sure I should repeat, because I don't think it was the generous type of love that he twisted it into. But we'll all share a little love by singing together words from Shir HaShirim, from the Song of Songs, which is really biblical love poetry. You can sing along on page 441, Dodi Li, and we'll sing together with our wonderful choir today.
Li
And so as we conclude this service and bring Kiddush to everyone in the sanctuary, and those at home, you'll have to fill your glasses yourself. We do indeed pray, Uri tzafon uvi teiman, rise up, O north wind, and come, O south wind. I'm not sure we're going to have much wind, but we're certainly hoping for a little bit to bring us a little bit of refreshment after a warm day. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Hi, Howard. Hi, David. Hi, Paul. Hi, Ali in the Kiddush Zoom room. I think, yes, everyone in the congregation can see you as well. Kiddush wine is just coming. David, is Dublin as hot as London? Yes, oh, it's as hot as London. How about York and Sleaford? Not quite as hot, but it's hot. And York and Sleaford?
York is the same, terrible.
The same, terrible. Oh, lovely. Depends on how you... So David likes the heat, Howard not so much maybe. Anyway, if you all have some Kiddush wine, the choir doesn't yet, we'll give them a chance to just get some wine as well. No, they're giving it a miss. No appetite for Palvin. we sing together. Baruch atah
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzav b'anu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon yidilanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tehillah lemikrahei kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, ki banu v'chata v'otanu kidashta mikoharim, v'shabbat kodshecha b'ahava uvratzon hinhaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
And we'll have our challah, and we'll say together, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Bye-bye.